And you're watching today on eNCA DSTV channel 43. Now, the Active Citizens Movement has launched a petition on change.org that is lobbying for the adoption of the draft protection and support of whistleblowers bill. It's in collaboration with the South African Institute for Responsive and Accountable Governance, SIRAG. Now, the ACM says whistleblowers are not often subjected to retaliation of threats and even violence. They are often subjected to retaliation, threats, and even violence. They cite the cases of the late Babita Deokaran, Martha Ngoye, Matapelo More, and others. Well, let's discuss this further, and I'm joined by ACM member Adila Chowan. Adila, good afternoon. Welcome to today, and thank you very much for your time. So you've decided as the ACM to push for the adoption of this bill. I mean, there are current legal means by which whistleblowers can be protected, but it's not being done. And that is why I guess you want now this draft bill to be adopted.
Good afternoon. That is 100% correct. We require the bill in order to ensure that whistleblowers are not victimized and finding themselves out of jobs as a result of blowing the whistle on fraud and corruption. The current legislation, the Whistleblowers Protection Act, is insufficient in terms of ensuring that whistleblowers are adequately protected. Hence, Active Citizen Movement has taken it upon themselves to lobby the president to ensure that our whistleblowers are adequately protected and even to the extent of remunerated for their bravery and services.
Yeah, they should be compensated. I mean, I've spoken to a number of other whistleblowers before, and financial stress and mental well-being, and some of them becoming depressed and still in hiding, several of them fearing for their lives, and nothing is being done to protect them. What are the key pillars of this draft bill that will give you comfort that when it comes into law, because that's what we are lobbying for, indeed whistleblowers will get the protection that they deserve, as well as you've just said, to be compensated for where appropriate?
The key is to protect the whistleblowers, because the current legislation is not sufficient. The current legislation does not criminalize the conduct of the perpetrators when they take action against the whistleblowers. So it's also one of the requirements that we are lobbying for, and monetary rewards for the whistleblowers, and also a whistleblowers protection and support advisory committee to be implemented that would lend support to whistleblowers. I think it's a lot more that is required, but this is just the highlights of what the petition is intended to achieve. And furthermore, we have done a lot of work in terms of the bill being drafted. We understand, government has limited resources. So Active Citizen Movement has taken the initiative and drafted the bill. It is now a question of making sure it is actually legislated.
Okay. Who is the petition directed to? Who have you addressed it to? And have you received any response yet?
We've addressed it to the Department of Justice, and we are waiting for a response. I think, the Active Citizen Movement is a bit concerned because from as early as April 2021, we have been lobbying the president, and the president has made on a number of forums statements about wanting to take steps and improve the legislation to protect whistleblowers. But to date, the legislation hasn't been revised that would ensure whistleblowers are actually protected and they are not subjected to being victimized and finding themselves out of jobs, and to the extent where whistleblowers have lost their homes.
Yeah. Do you have an idea or sense of why the government is dragging its feet on this one?
Look, when any legislation is being passed, there is a time frame with regard to getting input to a document, taking it through the various process. But unfortunately, there are people that may well be, part of the fraud and corruption that is rife in South Africa that may be obstructive to actually having this legislated implemented.
Okay. So what are you going to do now? You've done the petition. You've written to the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development and Correctional Services. That's Ronald Lamula. You've lobbied the president before, and nothing has happened. So what are you going to do next?
Well, look, the active citizen movement is trying to hold the president and the people of the country accountable for their action. They're trying to promote social justice in South Africa. So they will not hesitate to call upon further boycotts or go and petition outside the president's offices, etc. But they will do whatever it takes to ensure that they are heard and whistleblowers are protected.
Thank you very much for your time and explanation this afternoon. Adila Chowan from the Active Citizens Movement, herself a whistleblower.